What's up, YouTubes? So this is a job that I've been not wanting to do and delaying for a long time. So basically, if you look at the cam cover on this 2015 Volkswagen Golf TSI 1.8T, we've got some oil seepage happening around the this cam cover, and it's not so bad up at the front, but you can see there's quite a bit of seepage at the back, and I'm not sure about, because I haven't pulled the spark plug or the coil packs out yet, if there's anything dripping down into the spark plugs. But basically, this video we're going to do a reseal of this camshaft cover. So here goes. All right, before we get started, I'm going to show you some parts that you're probably going to want to procure before you start this whole thing. Some of these are going to be optional, but you know, I'll just go over them and you guys can decide for yourselves how you want to do it. So the most important thing that you're going to need is the actual gasket maker or sealant. And so what I chose to go with is the L-Ring 74. So it's about $15. You can get it from FCP Euro. You can get it through Rock Auto. You can get it all kinds of places. I like the L-Ring stuff. So that's what I'm going to use. So next, so if you order from FCP Euro, this kit, they'll give you 20 chain tensioner bolts, or 22, and this L-Ring sealant. You can get that. I'm not totally sure at this point if these are only if you're going to actually go through and do the lower timing chain cover as part of this job, which I'm actually trying to avoid, or if these are actually going to replace any of the cam cover bolts. So I'll find out when I get there if I can actually replace any of those with these or not. I'm not sure yet. The other two most important things, so you're going to want a high pressure fuel pump, a new high pressure fuel pump gasket, and then a new vacuum pump gasket. So bare minimum, this, and this are what you're going to need. But since we're also taking off the upper timing chain cover, you may want to consider, replacing the gaskets on that, or maybe even the cover itself. On this 1.8 TSI, it's only got one of those camshaft magnets, as opposed to two on the Golf Rs and the GTIs. So anyway, you may want to change these. It's a common source of those leaks, which if you're watching this, most of you probably know by now. We're also going to need to take off the PCV valve. And so I've got a new one to throw on here. So this car's got about 178,000 miles on it, something like that. So there's a lot of, so I might just do this as a preventative measure. And then we're also going to be, taking out all the coil packs in order to do this job. So I've got some new coil packs and spark plugs. So I'm probably going to do all this as part of this myself. But like I was saying, like you guys will probably, bare minimum, want the vacuum pump gasket, fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump gasket, and then the actual maker itself, and then and that should do it. So now let's take a look real quick at like an overview of all the stuff that we're going to take apart. All right, so in order to do this job, pretty much everything that you see up here is going to have to come off. So we're going to have to take off the upper timing cover. We're going to have to take off the PCV valve, the coil packs. We're going to have to disconnect, unfortunately, a coolant line. That's the part I'm really not looking forward to doing. Going to have to get all these wiring harnesses out of the way. Here's your high pressure fuel pump. So we're going to have to take this off, disconnect the high pressure fuel line underneath it, and then the vacuum pump, and it as well. Before we do that, take out the air box. But before we do any of that, it's important to take off disconnect your battery, because when you have that high pressure fuel pump disconnected. You don't want to start any fires. And because every time you open the door, of the car, you're going to have fuel shooting out. So you don't want to realize that after the fact, and then have fuel shooting out and then realize you got to disconnect your battery. So make sure you do that first. So those are, I think that pretty much covers like all the parts that we're going to have to take off. So let's just go ahead and dive in and do it. Hey, hold up everybody. It's Future Me here to give you all the benefits of some hindsight. So I'd highly recommend pausing here and making some mental notes of the lessons learned from this job. I'll post this again at the end, but take a look now and maybe save yourself some trouble. Two things stand out on this list. One is the importance of pre-looping all of the cam cover bearing surfaces. You'll see I missed the one protruding out to support the vacuum pump just due to being tired. This lubrication provides vital protection for the camshaft and cam cover bearings against wear while initial engine oil pressure builds on startup. And the second takeaway is that if you're going through all this trouble, do your best to get 100% of the old gasket residue off the cover mating surfaces for best possible gasket adhesion and lifespan. So this is aluminum. We don't want to damage that surface, so I would try and use an aluminum polishing wheel similar to pictured above to get all of the final residue off after scraping and chemical cleaning. So that's what I would do differently. You do need to replace those 22 cam cover bolts. They are that FCP Euro kit. Those kit bolts previously displayed. Other than that, just take a look, save yourself some headache, and enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks. All right, here goes. Have I mentioned how much I really don't want to do this job? This feels to me like a really high risk, low value job, just because the oil seeping out isn't really, it's not really like a huge deal. And one of the things that I haven't mentioned yet is I'm going to be trying to do this job without taking off the lower timing chain cover. I think I did mention it. Because the manual, if you actually follow the instructions, it wants you to do that so that you can put in, so you can basically release the tension off the timing chain, because basically you've got the cams, the intake and exhaust cam here. The timing chain is putting pressure, pulling those down. And so if you're following the manual, you're going to take off the lower timing chain cover, which is a huge ordeal. You might bend it. I guess it's not like a huge to me it's a huge ordeal, and there's a good chance you need to replace that, do more gasket maker to put it back on. And so essentially what I'm going to try and do is just remove the not remove the lower timing chain cover, and instead rely on the cam bridge, which is basically a piece of metal that you'll see when we get to that point, which goes over both of the ends of the camshafts, and that actually should hold them in place. And I'm going to try the zip tie method, one through the PCV, the hole for the PCV valve, and another one where for the exhaust cam that sticks out of the through the for the vacuum pump. And so essentially I'm gonna try and do it that way. But I guess when I say it's high risk, low reward, it's because you don't want to take any kind of chances with this thing jumping timing, with the cams, popping up and shifting. Otherwise you have to retime the whole engine, or, you could have catastrophic failure. So, yeah, that's what you get to worry about when you're doing this install. So right now I'm just trying to grab my 7mm. And of course, I grabbed the wrong one. Need a deep socket. And I don't have a deep socket 3/8, so I need an adapter. All right, we'll see if I can get it with this. And of course I can't. Do it the manual way. All right, so I'm just using the 7mm to loosen up this this intake hose going to the turbo inlet pipe. All right, that's loose. Okay, and then disconnecting. Oh, just squeeze up here. Disconnecting these hoses from the intake. And now you just have the 3 kind of grommets holding this on. So it's gonna be a little forceful with it, and it comes right out. All right. Set that to the side, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do next. Okay, grab me some shop towels. So we're gonna take off a coolant hose here. I've also got these little nifty Harbor Freight coolant line. I don't know what you call them, but basically to pinch off the lines. It's actually the first time I'm using these. And then I got this little tool that lets me take off these clamps. And now that I've got that backed off, get ready for some mess. I think, let's see. All right. Gonna grab some my little pick tools. Work it around the edges here. I actually had this off not too long ago. I just went through the whole cooling system on this vehicle, trying to get it sorted out. Which is why I'm actually really sad. I wanted to do this job before getting all the coolant back in it. But I needed to have the car running so that I could tell if I had issues that would actually require any kind of work on the cams itself, or on that on the little solenoids for the camshafts. Go. Mess wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but we're gonna have to also do the back side eventually. So far that clamp works pretty good. Kind of spiffy. I don't know if this is necessary, but I'm just sticking this little rubber bung in here because I haven't decided yet if I might be able to just, if I actually have to undo any other coolant connections, or if I'll just be able to kind of undo the bolts holding this hard line down and then just be able to, hold it up later. So this is what I'm going to try and do. We'll see how it goes. All right, so now we're just going to taking out the coil packs. So basically what you need is like a skinny, flat kind of 10 millimeter. I like this little Duratec for that. And then just like a 10 millimeter socket or like another 10 mil wrench. And I'm noticing a theme throughout this vehicle, which again, this is, bought this fixer-upper for my son, and there's quite a bit that was gorilla fisted on by whoever worked on it before. So I definitely respect those guys in the shops that can do everything super fast, but it kind of pains me a little bit watching how quick they go. And while I wish I had those skills, it doesn't make me happy thinking about anybody working on my car going that fast. So, all right. Especially when you know that things are just getting cranked down with maximum force with an impact wrench. And I mean, I get they've got a bottom line they got to meet, but it still hurts me to watch it. All right, so got all these grounds off. And these connectors are not my favorite. So basically what you have to do is press down and you're releasing, so press down this way, push down, and then pull back. So press down, push down, pull back. And you have to try not to push the one that you just did back in. So definitely a bit of a headache, but there we go. All right, so we got those. So we have another connector going to the let's see, what is that, the turbo, oh shoot, I just forgot the name of it. But so let's see, we got another similar concept though. So you have to pull back, push in, and back. There we go. And I'm sure that name will come to me in a second. All right. And then we've got a little clip that we have to release, and you want to be very careful if you're using a tool to do this instead of your fingernail. So just pop that back, and then this whole connector just slid back. So now we've freed up most of the wires on this harness. We still have the high pressure fuel pump electrical connector. Okay. All right. So we have this little plastic clip, and we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna go about that later. Yeah, this little connector was the diverter valve, I just remembered. All right, so before I actually take these coil packs out, I want to see if I can figure out how I'm gonna lay this harness back. And so just looking at this, it looks like you've got one little little plastic there, I got a different tool for it. I'll show you what to use. Using this guy. So you've got one little, I don't know what you call it, holding this cable in here. So, all right, or holding this harness in, and there's quite a bit of tension here because I probably should have taken this connection off first. So I'm gonna do that. Easier with two hands. All right, so I got that connector out, and now, so I've started to free up this harness, and I think what I want to do is see if I can fold this whole piece back. And so there, it looks like there's a plastic clip here, and another plastic clip on this end, and then I think I can lift up this low pressure fuel line. Once I undo the manifold sensor, intake manifold sensor. So I think what I can do is pop up this little low side fuel line, and what I'm hoping to do is undo these clips next. And I've never done this before, so you're gonna have to bear with me. This is my best guess on how these are supposed to come up, and I don't know if it's a good guess or a bad guess. So it feels like a bad guess, but I think it's just the fact that you've got multiple clips holding this thing in, so I gotta try and undo them both at the same time. So let's see. Oh, and they're not budging. All right, I'll pause the video. I'll figure out how to do it, and I'll show you in a second. All right, so I'm giving up on taking off this whole thing for now, even though I still think I'm right that it's just clips here, here, and here to do this whole thing. But instead, I'm just gonna pop the harness out of this piece. And so in order to do that, so it looks like there's, so it's easier to see right here. There's like a little latch plastic that goes down, a little latch that sticks out this way. So I've started to do, so I've got that one up. And, okay, so just need to do that all the way across. Okay. Just want to be, this is old plastic, so just trying to be somewhat careful so I don't break all these pieces. We got a zip tie back here I'm gonna cut, and then there's a tab that's going the other direction right here. use this. Wow, not being careful at all. There we go. All right, so we got that. Now there's a little piece of tape here. I'm gonna have to cut that piece of tape, cut this zip tie. I would have preferred to pop this whole thing out, but I don't want to spend all day trying to get it loose. Zip tie here. All right, so I think I've got enough undone that I can fold this wiring harness out of the way. See that little guy I was talking about? And I'm gonna try and route this under this fuel line. There we go. All right. So now I will eventually undo these bolts, and this will all, well, it'll loosen up at least. All right, let's see what's next. All right, I decided to finish up getting those coil packs off. So, I'm gonna bust my knuckles on that thing. Ratchet. All right, again. So somebody gorilla fisted these things on last time. These things can sometimes be a bit of a pain to pull out because of the suction. Oh, huh, interesting. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. It wasn't supposed to happen. The rubber part was supposed to come with it. So I got this little tool. I've never tried it before, but it came with a set. I'm gonna give it a whirl, see if it helps any. So basically, I'm doing it wrong. All right, that goes in there. You tighten this sucker up. And Oh, same thing happened. Great. Okay, so I might have to use, I don't know what I'm gonna do, use pliers or something. No. I don't think I'm gonna need to use pliers. Okay. Yeah, so that whole thing was supposed to come off. I don't think it matters. Or maybe it does, I don't know. It's never happened. It might not be good for, yeah. See if I can get this other one out. Oh, sucker's on there. Oh, wow. Holy smokes. All right. Put some. Oh, that doesn't feel normal. All right. Sure you guys don't want to hear me huffing and puffing. Oh. Oh, I'm not sure how I'm gonna get that out. Oh. And that one came out the way it was supposed to. Only one. Why? So I don't know if this might have anything to do with this thing being overheated or not. Don't know. I've never had one that was that tough to get out before. All right, so I kind of cheated a little bit, and because I really wanted to get this plastic piece out of the way, but it was just like I was saying before. So essentially, and I just have one more clip left, but there's just 2 little latches on this side that are, and this plastic's really old and brittle. So, so basically, like I'm just going in over on this side, and it just takes a little bit of getting close to breaking, but not really breaking. Okay. See if I can actually show you what they look like. Yeah. So you just have to pull these guys back to release, and then just twist this up to release. You'll figure it out. Gloves. Switch my gloves and they don't work with the phone. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna do is take these this T30 and take out these 2 T30s here because I want to get this little hose going to the PCV disconnected, and then I want to lay back this entire, hopefully lay this entire piece back this way. All right, so now with that disconnected, I'm gonna take my little clamp pliers, whatever they're called. And take that off, back that off a little ways. And it's probably gonna be really stuck on there, so I'm gonna get some picks. Actually, give it just like a little shot of silicone spray, just to help out. Get my little pick. Oh, and look at that, just slides right off. Nice. All right, move this over here. And so that should allow me to do what looks like these two T30s holding the rest of this coolant line on. So I'm gonna do that. And that looks the same. Yep, all four of those look the same. All right. Oof. I don't like this. So this hose is super brittle. I'm thinking maybe I should, this is gonna be in my way. I'd kind of like to have just been able to bend it out of the way just to not lose any more coolant, but yeah, I think I'm gonna undo that latch back there, or that clamp back there, and just take off this whole piece. All right, I don't want any coolant getting down into where the spark plugs are at when I take off this line, so I'm just plugging these up a little bit. That silicone was kind of nice last time, so I'll try it again. And I really hate losing more coolant, but I just don't like them. I guess I should get another towel for the mess. And this feels like it's never been off. So this might be interesting. Yeah, it's definitely on there. So I'm just taking this 90-degree pick and I'm just slowly working it around, trying to avoid stabbing a hole in this hose like I almost just did. All right, feels like I've got it freed up. So let's see if I did the trick. Oh, no, I definitely did not have it freed up. Oh, getting there. Okay, there we go. All right, look at that. Didn't lose any more coolant, so that's nice. Set that to the side. I'm still gonna grab another little rubber bone just to plug this up, just because I'm paranoid. Let's see if that'll work. Nope. You know what? I'm gonna take the bigger one and go around the whole thing. See if that worky. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I got that one closed off. We didn't lose any more coolant. And what next? All right, I'm just gonna show you another look at why I'm doing this jobs now that we have more of this stuff moved. So you can see some seepage kind of right here in this area, which looks fairly minor, honestly. But the reason that I was really doing it was more because of what's going on back here that you can see a little better. And I still don't know if that's really major. It doesn't look horrible to me, but you know, it's still more than I'd want. So, and then just show, we have some kind of seepage down into the sides, into the spark plugs, but again, I don't see it pooling down there. So again, what's the actual return on this job? It's maybe questionable, but this is for my son. He's gonna be on the other side of the state with his mom most of the time. He helped me with some of these repairs, but I'm just trying to get this thing as good as possible for him. And so it's worth the peace of mind to me just to get it done. All right, so next what I'm gonna do is take out some T30s that are all securing and holding down this rigid coolant line. And so there's a T30 right here, and then there's a T30 here that fastens it to the vacuum pump. And then if you follow this around, you got another T30 right here. So I'm just gonna take those out. I'm gonna try and largely leave this in place, but I have to do this so I can kind of get a little bit of play in this thing, move it out of the way so that I can take out this vacuum pump. And then if you look at the vacuum pump, I'm also going to disconnect these vacuum lines. So it's just like a squeeze and pull to take off this vacuum line. This just pops out like that. And then I think I'm just going to leave this little vacuum line. I think it'll be enough out of the way. So I'm going to do that next. Those two T30s look like they're the same size. And this one here looks a little bit longer. So I think what I'm gonna do, just so I don't lose my spot, is I think I'm gonna put this one back in here for the time being. Puff this vacuum And all these connectors come off easier in theory than in real life, it seems. So you just got to find the right angles to press those connectors. I think I might see if I can get some pliers in there to help me do it. Not those. Maybe those. Maybe not. Just gonna have to use the man hands. Off camera. All right, got that vacuum line off. So it's just like what it looks like. Like you just have to apply pressure on the top and on the bottom, and then you know, it just, the whole thing pops out of there. And sure enough, I pushed down with a screwdriver and I broke the top piece. I think it'll still hold on there just fine, but just don't do that when you do it. So we got basically no hard line for this coolant line on the vacuum pump anymore. We got the vacuum line disconnected. So next, I think I'm going to take the actual PCV valve off. And then after I do that, I don't know, it'll be a toss-up between upper timing cover and actually disconnecting the high pressure fuel pump. So next, break time. All right, break time's over. I mentioned yet how much I don't want to do this job. So I think what I'm going to do real quick is just, I'm going to take a second before I have this thing opened up just to clean up a little bit. Don't want to get anything, I don't want to have these chemicals drip down into the intake or manifold seals. Just want to get a little bit of this cleaned up just so that when I do take this cover off, so I don't have a lot of don't have to worry about a bunch of dirt and crud falling into the engine. And so I think I mentioned with that coolant line, the hard coolant line that went back to here, it wasn't so much it was brittle, it's just it was old enough that it didn't have a ton of flex in it, so I just thought it was better to take it all the way out. so far this job really, other than just being tedious and you have to take just about everything off the top to get to it, I mean, it's really not that bad. It just is a little bit time consuming. So this seems like a good kind of thing if you're just trying to do like a tune-up, got a whole bunch of miles on the car, and you want to replace a whole bunch of things at once. I mean, it's probably a pretty good way to do it. I just and then once I get done with this one, get to do the same thing on this guy. All right, for this next part, we're going to do the upper timing chain cover, and just get yourself a nice assortment of like 10 mil sockets, 30 or Torx T30s, and basically all these around the edge will take either a T30 or a 10 mil, and then for the camshaft position magnet dealy, those are T30s also. So we're going to take the magnet off first, and then the one word of caution I would give is just if you're going to use like something like that, like a ratcheting wrench or something, be really careful when you're down there at the bottom and with that one right there, because as you're backing that out, if it's not a reversible ratchet, you can get yourself like in a spot where basically you're stuck and you know, you can only ratchet one way. So fortunately, even if that does happen to you, these bolts are captive in a gasket there, so you can force your way out. But that happened to me once, so yeah, I would just try and avoid that. So here goes. All right, gonna start with the Torx T30 to get this little magnet off. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention was that we'll have to undo another T30 holding that oil dipstick tube on. So we'll have to do that too in a second. And remember, I already pulled off the connector a little bit earlier. And these are really tight tolerances, and everything wants to be in the way right here. Let's see that actually. That a little extension gave me what I needed. And these seem to be like, I want to say, well, you're technically supposed to replace these every time you use them. They're supposed to be those like torque to yield or whatever. You can see they're, I don't even know if they're magnetic, maybe just barely. But I'm not going to put new ones on this time. Looks like I'm just barely making. Okay, I'll pop that off the ratchet and see if I can just get it by hand now. Yep. And now this little magnet, you just try and kind of work it evenly all the way around, all at the same time. I should have taken that oil dipstick out first. I do have another one of these that I bought just in case, but I'd really like to not drop this. There we go. All right, so take a look at that guy. And yeah, when these are working right, you should hear them rattle like that when they're not all bound up. Okay, got some fresh oil seeping out now. That's nice. All right, on to the, I'm gonna do the 10, or the, right down here. Let's see, yep, T30 for the dipstick. And let's see if that socket just fits. Yep. Loosened up just enough to do almost by hand. It's just slow and tedious. Feels like it's free. And that one is definitely magnetic. I'm guessing the other one's not because of the torque to yield nature of it. Probably a softer metal just so that it can stretch. Oh. And so actually for this, I like to kind of push from the backside. Get around this tripod. I think last time I did this, I had the oil filter off too. So that I could actually put some pliers on there to get the little plastic piece to release. I mentioned I didn't want to do this job yet. Oh, there we go. Okay. Like I said, it's not that it's so bad, it's just that I've taken so much of the same stuff apart so recently, including this upper cover to redo this gasket, so. But I had to do all that just to see if there were any other problems that need fixed, so there wasn't really any way around it. Okay, so back to T30 and 10 millimeter socket and wrench combos to get this guy off. And these are all going to be captive basically, just in the upper timing chain gasket. They're captive within that. So so you got to kind of give it your best guess on if you've backed them out far enough, and then as you go to back this cover off, you'll be able to tell if you have. And other than the fact that this is a tedious job, I mean, this part's not really bad. Just super tight tolerances, and when you get down to those bolts at the bottom, usually I end up just having to back it out with like a open end wrench with both of these two down at the bottom. So it's not hard, it's just slow. You got another one right here. See if I can use a T30 on this Milwaukee ratchet. See if this guy will fit. And of course it doesn't. I should have done better. All right. I think I'll go with T30 and the ratchet for this one. Alright, now I've got it loosened up. Just go just to the bit. And I want to say, if you were doing this job like the right way, the full right way, taking off the lower timing chain cover, putting in those bits to lock the timing in place, if you're doing all that, then you might take out this motor mount too to make life easier on yourself. Actually, you might just have to, I'm not sure. Okay. So I just got the bottom two left before I should be able to take this cover off. See what I can do with this guy. And then we'll come back probably at some point with just the of course, it's gonna be like that. Let's see if either of these will play nice. Yay. At least a couple turns before there's not enough tension to use it anymore. All right, let's do these by hand. And they go on the same, they'll go on the same way. Not much you can do, but at least that I've found. Even like a really short Torx bit doesn't really have enough room back there while this motor mount's still in place. Oh, any of you that actually follow into the watches, it's a glycine combat sub. It's a display case back that I modified. Anyway, taking that off because I actually normally wouldn't wear that kind of watch for this kind of job, but there's not really too many places to get it scratched up other than what I'm doing right now. These are just the worst. It's just slow. Super tedious. At some point, I think I can maybe get my fingers in there and just do them by hand. Try this one more time. There's just no room to work down there. I really wish I had a longer 10 mil for this one. There's just no shortcuts. Just able to get both my index fingers on the one on the left. For some reason, I thought this one on the left was the worst of the two, but all right. I think I've got the left one. And I do have one little trick. That I think works. So I got this tiny little guy that I can throw a T30 into. Little ratchet. And no, it still doesn't have the clearance I need. So back to the little box locks-in wrench. All right, let's see if I can get my fingers in there now. Yes, I can. All right. All right, so we'll see if I've done enough. No. I think I have on the bottom, but all the rest of them I think need to come out a little more. And I've been reading that what you want to do for this job is you want to have the engine basically at top dead center. And I don't exactly know the reason why, honestly, but I'm assuming part of it has to do, okay, so now it's just a little dance of trying to get this cover out real quick. Well, maybe not real quick. All right. So what I was saying is I think you want to try and get this thing at top dead center, just so that, and then put some marks here. And I think part of the reason is at least just so you can mark these cams or the cam positions, and just make sure that nothing moves while we're doing this job. So I got to figure out, and I think I actually see the marks that I need to be looking for, but I'm not sure. I'm going to figure that out. I'll get back to you. All right, so see this little notch right there below the chain? Okay, so that point right there is supposed to be lined up with this arrow here. So you take this link, so basically what I have to do is I have to rotate the engine to get it to where the center of this link is, you know, the arrow right there, that triangle is in the center of this link, and then at the same time that little mark below is going to be in line with that triangle. And then it's kind of hard to see over here on this side, but see there's another notch right there, and see it's kind of right to the top left of that little bolt. So anyway, I'm going to turn this whole thing and get it to where you know, this is at top dead center, and those 2 points are aligned. I don't know if there's a good reason or if it's just a relic from, again, doing this the right way, where you have the lower timing chain cover off and you get everything just right. Like, I don't know if there's another reason, but I'm going to do it anyway, just in case. So anyway, I'm going to basically get a socket. It's kind of hard without the car lifted up right now, but I think what I'm going to try and do is get this, which I believe it's a 24 mil that I need to get right in there in order to be able to turn this thing. So anyway, that's what I'm about to do. Alrighty guys, so So it looks like we're at top dead center now. So you see that little yellow kind of square that's beneath that chain, and then right above it, that triangle piece. And so you can see my ratchet right there. And so essentially I just was just rotating it clockwise, and you can, it's harder to see, but same thing over here. And now that I've done that, so right now I've got the parking brake on. All right, just took this out. I'm just gonna go throw this thing into gear. I'm gonna go put it into like first gear now, just so the engine can't turn so easy. And then we'll move on to high pressure fuel pump. All right, next up is the high pressure fuel pump. Paul and the Shop DAP and Humble mechanic channels have some pretty good videos showing this step, but so basically I haven't done anything except for, you know, disconnected the battery. Got a 17 mil wrench for this lower nut, and then a 19 mil just to hold the upper piece steady. I got some googles on just so that because this is, again, this is high pressure, so I'm expecting a little bit to kind of squirt out as I release this. I didn't do any kind of procedure like in the manual. It asks you to, okay, and you can see we got a little bit of dribblage. Technical term. Yeah, in the manual it says something about like releasing pressure on the low side somehow. I don't know if I could do that with VCDS, which I do have, or if you know, but that said, didn't lose a whole ton. Didn't lose like a ton of fuel. I'm debating whether or not I might put a clamp on this side just in case. I don't know if that's even necessary. I think I might just try it, see how it goes. I don't think this is necessary, but I'm gonna do it anyways. All right, which I might get in the way of the T30s that I'm trying to undo, but I don't think it will. All right, so I think we've caught that so far. And now, because this is, there's basically a spring, so this thing's under tension. So in the video that I watched of those guys, it basically shows to walk these out kind of evenly on each side. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. Again, just 2 T30s. Again, this whole thing is under like spring tension. So it'll be interesting to see how much there is. I've never taken one of these off before. And even on my Golf R. So again, this is a 1.8, 170 horsepower, 200 foot-pounds of torque. I think that's plenty for my son right now. We're not doing any performance mods of this just yet. Again, he's just turned 16, just barely getting his license. Whereas my Golf R, that you'll probably see some other content on, I'm basically doing a, right now it's stage 1, 2, and I have a whole bunch of parts to do the full stage 2. So I'm gonna be adding like the intercooler and just a whole bunch of things. So if this is under tension, it sure doesn't feel like much. Maybe I'll find out in a second how much. All right, let's set these aside. And I believe this should just come off now. I'm guessing that that gasket might just be a little bit stuck. Let's see, I did not release any, I didn't do anything to loosen up the lower part of this. So I'm hoping I don't have to. I don't think I will. All right, I think we're almost off. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I guess you just pull till it sounds expensive. Okay. And man, I'm looking for the gasket that I bought to put on this thing. Oh, okay. I'm guessing that's it right there. So I was expecting to maybe see one around the edge, but there's nothing. So I'm just gonna get this cleaned up a little bit. I don't want any crud to like fall in there. So let's see what I can do to clean that up real quick. All right, I just put the high pressure pump. I just wrapped it up in a bag just to try and keep any crud out of it. And I'm gonna move on to that vacuum pump. All right, got a 10 mil socket. A T30 works also, but if I have the choice here, I'm gonna go with the socket. So just 3 bolts. And I'm just gonna kind of loosen each one first before taking them all the way off. And once these three are out, this should be able to slide off over the exhaust camshaft. And I think we're gonna see like a little lobe sticking out. So I'm gonna do the bottom ones first and then go to the top one last. And just remember, I've already disconnected the vacuum line, and then the coolant line that's normally mounted to this is disconnected. So far, 2 out of 3 of those bolts are all the same, so I'm guessing all 3 of them are going to be the same. So we'll find out. Support this with one hand. Okay, let's see how this. Okay, so I'm just going to carefully try and move this coolant hose or coolant line out of the way. And it came off without any trouble at all. So that's what it looks like, and it looks like the gasket that we're going to be replacing is still there. And if you take a look at that exposed, I guess, lobe, or I don't know what you want to call it, on the exhaust camshaft, I've seen that some people will put a zip tie around that, and they might also put a zip tie, and we'll take a look once we have the PCV off. But there's another one that you can put on the intake camshaft side. But I was reading through some different forums, and they're saying that if you put it on the intake one, it kind of like pulls it off kilter a little bit. So I don't know for sure I'm going to do that, but I have a theory that if I put a zip tie around this one just for safety, that'll at least that'll help out with offsetting some of the pressure that's on the cam bridge on the opposite side. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to take off that gasket that stayed on there. And yeah, I'm just noticing that these little ears were on the exterior side. And just gonna get this cleaned up with just a little bit. I'm gonna go find some zip ties. All right, I got a couple of these big suckers, about 2 foot long zip ties. And I'm just hooking them together so I can have enough reach to get around some heavy metal parts down here. Oh. All right, well, it's pretty tight, and I'm hoping that the way that I've done it won't actually impede me taking off or putting on the new cover. I guess we'll find out. But I'm just gonna clip this off in the meantime to get it out of my way. All right, we're gonna continue the theme of the T30s to remove the PCV valve or cover. It might be redundant. And I believe these are captive too, although I don't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure they are. It seems like they are. trying to remember. See if we got any hidden ones. No, I'm gonna have to take the one off for this hose on top, but it might just be stuck on there just from. Oh, there we go. Yeah, the gasket just wanted to hold it on there. I probably should have taken this one off to get that hose off. That one actually comes out. I'll see if I can remember how you're supposed to get this guy out. Maybe I can do it off to the side, we'll see. Can't remember if it just pulls up a little bit and out. It feels like it wants to come. I just don't remember. What the trick is. If there's a latch. Give me a second. So I was just looking at the new one that I have to go on, and so it does look like that piece I'm trying to take off, it looks like it just needs to pull up and back over those two little plastic pieces right here. That's what I'm going to try harder. I'll see if it works. Really doesn't want to. I should have done this before I loosened the rest of it. And part of the reason that, so I could undo this connection to the turbo inlet also, but that's a pretty terrible one to get disconnected also. I wonder if I can get a screwdriver into the back side there. I think I can. I don't know if it's the way though. Ah, there we go. Huh. So it was just this right here that was catching a little bit. That was it. All right. Let's see if I can show you that. PCB valve. Set that to the side. And as far as I know, it hasn't failed. I am a little bit concerned just by the amount of oil that I see on this line, but there were quite a few issues before I really started digging into this car, including the fact that the boost pipe or the pipe going into the throttle body wasn't even connected. right? So there were all kinds of boost leak issues going on with this. So, but that said, so here you can see the intake camshaft, and I think I'm gonna refrain from adding a zip tie like some people have done. So I think you could potentially zip tie from here. I don't know if it's like through one of those holes and back up, but from what I've read in the forums, it's not really necessary. And I'm going to keep that one on the exhaust side. So we're finally getting close to getting this thing off. So now the next step is just to get these, the remainder of these T30s out. And there's a way that the manual wants you to do it. I'm going to check. I think it's from outside and then work your way in. Whereas when you're installing it, I think it's opposite, but let me double check and then we'll go do